Look at New York's 17th district, where State Assembly member Mike Lawler, who was on this show, defeated the chair of the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, who was also on this show, Congressman Sean Patrick Maloney. Yes, the guy in charge of getting Democrats elected lost. Lawler made his focus about public safety.
Cashless bail needs to be repealed. Judges need discretion, and we need a dangerousness standard. I think there's a lot that can be done at a federal level with legislation to really force New York State's hand.
This strategy isn't rocket science. Moderation works. Another example is Oregon's 5th District. Lori Chavez Derrimer, the former mayor of Happy Valley, Oregon, flipped the district by defeating Democrat Kurt Schrader, who held the seat for over a decade. She knew what was on the majority of voters' minds, not unsubstantiated 2020 voter fraud claims, but crime plaguing the state and, of course, inflation.
I talked to a young woman the other day who was trying to decide to fill up her full tank, or, she said she was trying to reduce her meals, choices, 1 or 2 meals a day. And I thought, we've got a real problem on our hands. So while we can put labels on just about anything, I'm not sure that people are feeling that the inflation is going down. 40-year high. It's hard to take our eyes off of that.
Even just think about what happened in Georgia. Republican Brian Kemp won over the efforts of Donald Trump to defeat him, and Herschel Walker lost. Yeah, you can make an argument that voters didn't want Walker, but there's also an argument to be made that voters just wanted moderation. They wanted sensible politics. A narrow victory for Democrats in keeping the Senate, and a narrow victory for Republicans taking the House. On this show, we use the term the marginalized moderate majority. Those of us who are sick and tired of the loudest and most extreme voices in the room dominating the political conversation. I think it's fair to say that we, generally also had a very good midterm election. Joining me now is Republican strategist Rob Stutzman. He served as the former deputy chief of staff to Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger. Thanks very much for coming on the program. Appreciate it. Is that fair to say, do you think, that moderate Republicans had a good election day?
No, I think they did overwhelmingly. And, what the other evidence of this point, Dan, is the other side of the coin. You can also look at the districts where Trump candidates defeated moderate Republican incumbents, like in Michigan, Peter Meijer, and in Washington State with Jamie Herrera Butler, beat by, frankly, extremists that lost very close marginal seats. In fact, in Washington, the Herrera Butler seat was lost by Joe Kent, who beat her in the primary, and that seat through redistricting had become more Republican. It was really stunning that Republicans would lose that seat. So, moderates were successful, and the other folder of evidence here is how unsuccessful these Trump radical candidates were when they were in marginal seats.
Right, and it seems to me that became the key ingredient, right, was moderation. And this is something we talk about all the time, which is this idea that in the primaries, both parties get pulled to the more extremes. But in this particular election, the Republican extremists did better in the primaries than maybe some of the Democratic extremists did.
Yes, it's an unfortunate thing about our primaries is that the incentives become perverse. First of all, strategically, for winning general elections, because you typically nominate people that are more radical. But then it also empowers someone like Trump in order to continue to exert authority over the party, even though it leads to a losing strategy come November. Democrats didn't have as much of this problem, but they had it show up in certain places, Wisconsin being an example, where they nominated a candidate, Mandela, who's probably far too much to the left to win against Senator Johnson there in that swing state.
And Johnson was vulnerable. The point is,
totally vulnerable. That was the lost opportunity for the Democrats. Was Wisconsin.
How about in 2024? You mentioned Trump. Do you think a moderate Republican could take someone, could take down Trump or even DeSantis in a primary?
Well, I think you'd still have to be conservative, but a funny thing, what we call moderates these days, Mitt Romney, I suppose, is called a moderate, but he was pretty doggone conservative when he was the presidential nominee. I do think there are what we would consider more mainstream, normal Republicans I think DeSantis even falls in that category. Someone like Governor Kemp, who could succeed at a level that Trump was never able to.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.